In this episode of Project Siesta, we go grass auto testing and get the car very, very dirty. Then make it all clean, shiny nice for the MOT man to decide if it's still roadworthy. It's not great news. Roll titles. So throughout the summer, my car club puts on a series of grass auto tests, and they're very similar in spirit to the auto testing you've already seen on this channel. However, they are far simpler and aimed at the clubman with a standard road car. What this sport lacks in glamour and high speed, it more than makes up for in sheep poo and the fact it's cheap, fun, and at the end of the day, we all go down the pub. So how did Project Siesta get on in its first motorsport outing for the channel? Well, it started very badly when I had to jump out halfway through the first test to reattach the throttle cable. Now this hadn't come off in over 50 miles of road driving when I was filming the previous episodes. But put a stopwatch on something and just see what goes wrong. But not to despair, we still had 2 other tests and 2 other rounds to try and claw back some time. And to be fair, Project Siesta made a great account of itself and was really good fun and setting some really competitive times. So competitive in fact that even though we jumped out and fixed it on the first test, we still came second overall. Now you may be saying, hang on David, the thumbnail made it fairly clear that you'd won. Well, not this event, but it has been a long time since the last update and we have these twice a month. And the following event that I went to took home the trophy. So that's it for the motorsport part of this video, and regular viewers will remember last time out I said this.
The MOT for this car is in 2 days. So what's an MOT? Well, an MOT is the MOT test, which is the annual inspection for all road cars older than 3 years in Great Britain, which is fine because it means that, you know, they check emissions and safety critical things. So it means that everyone's car is in good working order. Mine is, and importantly, everybody else's is as well, which is very good. But this car stands 0 chance of getting through with these throttle bodies on it.
So once we've finished hooning around the countryside for this video, everything's going completely back to standard in a bid to pass the test and give ourselves another year's ticket to the road. So job number 1 is to remove the ITBs, and an hour on the driveway sees this turn into this. And seeing as MOT testers have to get up close and personal with the car, presenting it covered in sheep shit is probably not a good way of winning their favour. So it's time to break out the pressure washer. Now first impressions are important, so clean and shiny is not going to hurt. However, it's more important to not make someone have to pick the sheep crud out of the tyre treads just to measure how deep they are. So I'm being a bit careful with just how clean this car is.
So guys, I'm going to tell you a bit about the sponsor for today's video, which is Carly. Seeing as you're watching this video, chances are you're exactly the same as me and you want to know as much about your car as possible, and you want to do as much of the work to it yourself as you can, which with something as modern and integrated as this, if you haven't got the right box of tricks, you don't stand a chance, which is exactly where Carly comes in. So Carly is a great tool to help you understand your car and work out what's going wrong with it. So let's give it a go. First off, we open the app and select the car. Now there's loads to choose from, but we've already got this car selected, which is my wife's 2013 Volkswagen Touareg, which you'll have seen towing the Mini on this channel before. So let's connect. And we've got 3 steps. So first off, we plug in the adapter, turn on the engine, make sure Bluetooth is on, and hit connect. So the app just goes through some simple steps and then you're in automatically. And you can do a lot of things. So straight off we can do health checks and do diagnostic reports. We can check for mileage or tampering the VIN number. We can customize it and we can do a whole load of other stuff. So first off, let's do a diagnostics report. So at the top we've got how the car was last time we checked it, and we can see there's a couple of issues. So let's check for issues now. So now Carly is checking every system that it can, and this only takes a couple of seconds. And it comes back that it's checked 23 ECUs and we found 2 fault codes. And you can see at the top we've got some yellows, overall health is acceptable, and we've got 2 issues with the comfort system, and they are, there's an issue with the locking fuel cap and an issue unlocking the fuel tank cap. So they're probably the same issue, but if we want to know a bit more, we can enter Smart Mechanic, which will give us more detail on that particular fault code, including related fault codes and also possible error causes and how to check those errors. So that's really useful, and now will give me something to do once I've finished this video. It never ends. So there's one other thing I really want to show you guys, which is over in the features page, which is the maintenance section. You can see we've got lots of options, so we can reset all the service lights. So if we change the oil, we can reset the reminder so it doesn't bug us every time we start the car. And if we're doing something a bit more in depth, like the parking brake control, so this has an electronic parking brake. Now I recently changed the discs and the pads on the back of this car. Now I didn't need to enter a service mode on that because it's got separate actuation. However, if I had this car's little brother, the Tiguan, that's got electric actuation on the caliper itself, so you can't fit new brake pads without using this mode. So I wouldn't have been able to do it without Carly. So if you want to know more about Carly, or you're interested in getting one yourself, then click the link down in the description for more information and 15% off. And thank you, Carly, for sponsoring this video.
So normally what you do is have a little look over the car, check there's nothing stupid wrong with it, like bulbs or anything like that. But you may be spotting a theme here. I've run out of time, so I've literally done nothing. So whether this passes is total pot luck. So what we're going to do is just give the keys to the man, wait nervously like some expectant parent in the waiting room, maybe distract myself trying to work out how TikTok works, or just do work emails, and then see what the results come back as. Wish me luck.
So as promised, we got to the MOT station, handed over the keys, and then retreated back to the office and tried to work out how TikTok works. And how you can go straight from Dua Lipa to cheesecake, I'm still not sure. Yeah, I feel old. Very old.
I don't understand.
Unfortunately, one thing I do understand, however, is MOT result sheets, and this one isn't looking pretty. Some big fat failures with rusting on the inner sills. So let's have a look at it. So the MOT man said he'd put some yellow chalk around the fail points just so I could see them. He didn't need to. There was a gaping hole in the sill, a bit of poking around with the patented rust detector, and the situation's looking not too pretty. It's a whacking great hole that is then hidden by the suspension pickup. Yeah, this isn't looking good on the passenger side, but on the driver's side, yeah, okay, it's not looking quite so bad. Yeah, not good, but not quite so bad. Actually, this would be a fairly easy fix with just one strip of metal, but yeah, it's the other side I'm worried about. So looks like it's time to drop some suspension and see how far that rabbit hole goes. So out comes the trolley jack and the axle stands, and with only a few ugga-duggers from the magic ugga-dugga gun, wheels are off and the suspension's dropped. Let's have a proper look. And unfortunately, it doesn't look any prettier. Yeah, so when you can just peel away metal, or what used to be metal, with your bare fingers, that's not the best for structural integrity. So as you'd expect, I then set to with every single angle grinder, flap disc and power file that I had at my disposal to try and get to some good steel underneath the mess of rust and oxidation and previous repairs, and it was heavy going.
So we've had to make some tough decisions, and it boiled down to spending hours and hours on this to still end up with a rusty old shopping trolley, or looking in the garage and thinking, well, there's probably lots of more interesting projects in there that we can spend our time on. So unfortunately, Project Siesta is going back to where I saved it from, the scrapyard. So if you're still watching now, please consider hitting the thumbs up, it really does help. And if you really liked it, then hit subscribe and the bell so you don't miss anything. Please consider joining the Patreon and these fine people who should be scrolling across the screen now. Thank you again to Carly for sponsoring this video, and until the next time, be good. And if you can't be good, don't get caught. There you go. It's all in there somewhere.